Robbie, go ahead.
Hey, Clark. I guess, of course, Florida is a very talented team. What adjustments do you guys make? What do you guys need to do to prevent another game, kind of like the Georgia game, considering that the talent level is somewhat comparable between those two teams?
Yeah, they're talented. I think the starting point is those self-inflicted wounds from early in the Georgia game. Let's get out to a better start and give ourselves a competitive chance. And then design around the matchups, right? Like let's find the rhythm on offense that gives us a chance to get our playmakers the ball in space, and defensively, let's make sure we're doing a good job of accounting for the quarterback in the run game, and and having awareness of their shot plays too. It's going to be about us. It's going to be about getting to a better start, not having the self-inflicted wounds and putting ourselves behind early, and then trying to get to that one possession game in the fourth quarter where the pressure's on the opponent.
Aria.
Clark, you're coming upon decisions for several players in terms of whether to use the redshirt or not with the 4-game rule. What is your approach to deciding, who's gonna, of the true freshmen, who's gonna continue playing, who might, use their red shirt? Do you consider their red shirt status in terms of deciding when to put a player into a game?
I think year one will be different than, the plan moving forward. This is about putting our most competitive team on the field every week. And so, we're gonna default to letting those guys help where we need, to enhance our depth, or maybe a little more skill or athleticism at position. And if a freshman's helping with that, we're gonna field the most competitive team we can. I think moving forward, obviously you love redshirting, you love to play with an older, experienced team down the road, but in year one we have to be all hands on deck to make sure that we're giving ourselves the best chance each weekend.
Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, Clark, what's the response been like in practice this week? I guess you haven't had that many yet, obviously, but you've had meetings and things like that. And what do you sense that a win has done for your team's spirits?
Well, obviously when you get the result you want, everything, the mood lightens. We took an honest look at that UConn game yesterday with the team, and celebrated the areas where we felt like we pushed into the areas competitively that we wanted to, and then also looked at the things that we did that prevented us from closing that game out sooner. And there's learning in that, but I loved where the guys were yesterday in meetings. We'll find out today in practice what the level of compete, the spirit, enthusiasm, but hopefully we're building on the week of prep that we had last week, because I thought that was our best. And we're scheduled to have a great practice this afternoon. So I'm expecting that from the players, and they're excited to go on the road and to have a chance to battle out an SEC play on the road.
Teresa.
Clark, how much maybe do you try to learn from your first SEC game against Georgia as you now prepare to go on the road to Florida? And what are the challenges that are involved maybe with going on the SEC road right now?
Well, the environments are unforgiving on the road, and I think that's also exciting for us. It's not something that we look forward to playing in those hostile environments, and so we'll get up for that. Again, kind of what I said with reference to Robbie's question. I feel like for us, it's got to be tightening our game down. And I felt like we did that in some ways against UConn, where you saw less procedural penalties, again, fewer self-inflicted wounds. There's still details to clean up, both in the execution on offense and defense, but also in the kicking game and coverage units. For us, to get a better result this weekend, as opposed to the first SEC game, it's how do we put ourselves in the strongest position competitively? That starts with us, not turning the ball over and making good decisions in the return game, so on and so forth, so that we have the best chance to be, in good in striking distance here as the game gets tight in the fourth quarter.
Robbie?
Clark, along the lines of the true freshmen, you and your staff have had a chance to go look at the tape. It seemed like a lot of them were getting on the field against UConn. Based on their performance, to what extent do you anticipate that will continue to be a trend where the true freshmen are playing more and more?
Well, they're on the field because they're trending in the right direction and they earn it in practice. And so we're absolutely gonna continue to use them. I think, some of them playing for the first time in a game against UConn was, they're getting their toes in the water. We'll build on that performance and find more for them. And again, they'll earn it in practice, but we're excited about those young players. And again, for us, it's like just, fielding the most competitive team we can each Saturday, not worrying about levels of experience, but just looking at the competitive mindset and skill sets to give ourselves the best chance in each game. So we'll continue that trend. They have to earn it, but they're on the field for us because they've done that to this point in practice, and they're growing and maturing in the program. And with more game experience, I'd imagine they'd settle in further, and you'll continue to see them be involved.
Justin, go ahead.
We've talked to you about Will Sheppard a bit in the past, but another big game for him this past weekend, 2 touchdowns. He's clearly one of your quarterback's favorite targets. Can you talk a little bit about how he's developed in your 1 year here and how much you trust him out there right now?
He's come a long way. I mean, I remember my first meeting with him just, back in the winter, where he was expressing the desire for more. He wanted to play more and felt like he could have played more a year ago. And the challenge to him was just then earn it, go out and earn it, compete for it. He's done that. He did that through the winter and spring. Thought he grew a bunch just from spring to summer. Loved the summer he had training, getting himself physically prepared, mentally prepared to play. And, you've seen the aggregate of that work come through in his success this fall. There's more for him. I think there's more, and that's for every young player, but, he's got fundamental technical aspects of his game that he can clean up. There's, the ability to beat the press at the line of scrimmage and stack routes down the field. And, I think that as the year goes on and he gets more experience and gets coached, we'll see his performance sharpen. But in the meantime, he's found a level of production that's helped us win a couple games. And we got to keep with that rhythm, because obviously there's a chemistry developing there that's going to be beneficial to us. So I'm proud of Will. I'm proud of the distance he's covered to this point, but I'm excited about, where we can get with him through to the end of the season.
Aria.
So, against UConn, you guys had a lot more big passing plays and explosive passing plays, as well as using, the short passing game more and whatnot. But what do you want to see improvement on in terms of more consistently being able to make those big plays in the passing?
Yeah, so some of that's design and a lot of it's execution. And so, I think, I was pleased with the plan in the UConn game. I was pleased with the way the receivers and Ken executed that plan. I think what I'd like to see is the ball actually go up more. There's a couple more throws to make where when Ken is playing with confidence and playing loose, like he can put it up and let Will and the boys go win on some of those one-on-ones. And I think that's where the next step is taken. We got to make good decisions with the ball. So not throwing back across our body there in the early in the second half, but when you have a post open or a post on a one-on-one situation, like don't be afraid to put some air under it and let our receiver go get it. I think that just comes with comfortability in the system and, getting the coaching and training, the learning each week. But on the whole, I think we replicate what we did in the UConn game by design. And then, we put the work in through the week so that Ken can go out on Saturday, play loose, play confidently, and get the ball in the hands of those receivers who we think can be good playmakers for us.
Chris Lee.
Yeah, Clark, I know De'Rickey Wright was a big part of your defense coming into the year. I know that you thought he could do some big things for you. I know his snap counts have been pretty limited. I also know he was hurt, part of fall camp and missed a lot of time. How much of playing time is related to maybe health or something there? How much of it is just maybe getting beaten out by snaps or 4 snaps by other guys?
You know, without, I think to cover that with a blanket statement wouldn't be fair. I would say that, when De'Rickey practices in the week, he's a young player that's still getting his, football IQ up and the experience of playing. So when he practices in the week, we think he puts us in a great position on Saturdays to be at our competitive best, and he will continue to see his snap counts go up. He was a little banged up this past week, and in the end felt like we were playing a little more man in the game, and so we nickeled out a little more, and Michael Owusu was able to play snaps at that anchor position in a winning manner that we didn't think it was fair necessarily to put De'Rickey out there without having the full week of prep behind him. So we're excited about De'Rickey, and you saw it in fall camp. I mean, he's got playmaking ability on defense that we've lacked this year on the whole, and so the sooner we can get him up and rolling and healthy, and again, we expect him to be with us this afternoon in full force. The more we'll use him on Saturdays, and I think as he grows in his experience, I think the more you'll see that playmaking ability really stand out.
Robbie.
I saw on the depth chart Justin Ball is still not on there. Do you have an update on how his rehab is going? When maybe he could return?
Yeah, so he's advanced himself to a point now where he's doing individual with us, and complementing that during team periods with some conditioning with our strength staff and a return to play protocol. I would say he's going to be day by day, and we'll see how he responds today, but I do anticipate ramping him up and seeing if we can give it a go this weekend for him.
We'll wrap up with Teresa.
Clark, as you look at this Florida offense, particularly Emry Jones has been proven to be quite a challenge for teams already this year. How do you try to, contain him and face that offense? That Gators offense, rather.
Well, obviously, Coach Mullen has got such an offensive mind, and he's built a team, a unit with some tools. The quarterback makes it go. Both those guys can run effectively. They're going to spread you out. They're going to force you into space. I think anytime you start running the quarterback, it's about teaching defensively who has responsibility for him as a runner, and you start to split guys between perimeter screens and playing the outside half of the quarterback. It takes alignment discipline, key discipline, post snap footwork. There's a fundamental technical approach to this that gives you the best chance to close the space. I do think UConn was a good measure for us in terms of practicing these skills, because they were also a spread team that we anticipated running the quarterback. Obviously, when their starter got hurt, we adjusted accordingly. But they're going to stress you out by stretching you and putting you in space, and again tucking the ball with the quarterback and running. So there's a systems element to that where we have to make sure we're accounting for him in a numbers game, but also there's a fundamental technical aspect of that where if I'm a perimeter defender, I can't, run into the box on the snap to then run out on the screen. Every step I take counter to where the ball's going is putting the ball in more space and making it more stressful on the defense to down it. So we have to be really disciplined in how we align, how we key, what our post snap movement looks like to give ourselves the best chance to collapse space around the ball and limit big plays. And so it's challenging, but certainly, we feel like each week we've within the system, we've gained experience, and we'll spend our time in practice this week preparing our plan to limit their explosive ability. Kentucky was able to do a good job with that at times, and we need to do the same. And so our guys will be excited for that. And it'll be a good week of prep and a good challenge on Saturday.
Teresa, did you have another one?
Oh, sorry, forgot to, I lowered it the first time and not the second. Sorry about that.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.